I am in the same business as Dave Portnoy, sort of, and I am confused by what has happened here recently with Barstool. I don't understand it, but I'd like to understand it, and Eben Novy-Williams does understand it. He's the sports business reporter at Sportico. Before that, he covered sports media deals at Bloomberg for a decade, so we're bringing him in for his expertise here because Barstool is now laying off, like a lot of media entities and content entities. The New York Post reported they're laying off 25% of their employees. He marked down his home in the Hamptons because evidently he needs millions of dollars in cash. I thought, and Eben, maybe you can explain this to me, when it happened, Portnoy and Penn break up. Penn goes with ESPN. Portnoy gets his business back for $1 after selling Barstool for $500 million. I thought, how the hell does any of that happen? So explain to me that part of it first before we go any further. And thank you, by the way, for joining us.
Thank you for having me, Dan. I think the easiest first answer is that this was a bad marriage from the start. Penn National, when it decided to and agreed to buy Barstool, eventually in February purchased the whole thing at a valuation of $6.5 or a little under $6.5 million. And then 6 months later sold it for $1 back. And you obviously don't do those two transactions unless this is an asset that you really, really, really do not want to have on your balance sheet moving forward. And we'll get into the ESPN part of this, I'm sure. But I think the easy answer is Barstool is a company that, as I'm sure all of your listeners know, very often pushes the edge of content, very often goes way beyond the line of what a lot of people think is acceptable. And in a regulated environment like sports betting, that is problematic for public companies. And there was tension from the start. There was tension throughout the entire relationship. And again, just a few years into that relationship, Penn National decided we're going to get out of this. We're going to dump the entire asset. We're going to take an $800 million hit on our books, and we're going to find another dance partner to try this whole thing again.
Would there have been another buyer? Like, how does this work? How do they go back to Portnoy and give it to him for $1?
So I think the answer is Portnoy spends $1 to take on a company that is losing a lot of money, and by his own admission, and who knows how accurate this is, but it's losing about $12 million a year, about $1 million a month. So he's getting $1. He's paying $1 for it, but he's suddenly now responsible for those losses in a way that he was not responsible for those losses 2 weeks ago, or 3 weeks ago, or even a year ago. So the challenge now for Dave is to, under his private ownership once again, is can he get this company back into a profitable business, which it was at one point, from what I understand. It's just so much bigger. You mentioned the layoffs. It's so much bigger. There's 400 employees before this round of cuts. It's a much more unruly thing than it was when he was under control 4 years ago.
Explain to me this part, though. This is one of the most amazing stories in the history of sports media or media in general. How is it not a profitable business?
Yeah, it's a great question. I don't know all of the in-depth financials. The way that Dave and Erica Nardini, the CEO, was on our podcast this week, the way that they spin it is that they were not in profitable mode as part of Penn National, that they were in build this sports book, hire these people that can help us merge our way into a publicly traded company, all those things. And I'm sure a lot of the layoffs that are happening right now are going to focus on a lot of that. The superfluous jobs that are no longer needed because this is now a privately owned company that has very different aspirations than it did a month ago. But the truth is that I think they were, in some ways, were a victim of their own success. They were growing very rapidly year over year for a lot of the past decade. I think they tried a lot of things that did not work, that ended up being expensive. They probably got ahead of their skis a little bit in terms of how big a staff they wanted, where they wanted that staff to be, how ambitious they wanted to be. They're broadcasting a college football game, Dan, which I know you know, but they really were very ambitious and spread out in a lot of ways. And I'm sure now that Dave is solely responsible for bearing the losses of a lot of those things, I would imagine they're going to downsize quite a bit, not just in headcount, but also in aspiration and ability of how many projects they take on.
What did Barstool's CEO have to say in your most recent interview?
She said a lot of the same things that Dave has said, which is that this marriage was maybe not the best fit from the beginning. She said that she thought ESPN and Penn were a way better fit, and also that the pirate ship mentality that Barstool had for a long time, I think a lot of that disappeared as part of the corporate, heavily regulated overlords that they were in. I think some of that is certainly a bit of spin, Dan. I think there's it's going to be a lot more complicated than I think even executives at Barstool make it seem to get back to profitability. But this is a company that has, in its own corner of the media world, has built a very large audience, has built a very avid audience, and they at least believe in some cases that they can get that back to a profitable business.
Is Portnoy joyous, or is he scared, or is he both to have this back in his responsibility?
It's a great question. He has made so much money off of Barstool right now. He owned, from what I understand, about 49% of the company when it was sold to Penn. So he probably cleared $150 million of cash just in that transaction. He owns another tens of millions in Penn stock that he can sell if he wants to. So he is not struggling for money. Barstool has been extremely profitable and extremely good to him financially. But yeah, he doesn't want to, I'm sure he does not want to run a company that's losing $10 to $15 million a year, and certainly does not want those losses to mount. So part of this is a reputation thing. He has an ego, as I'm sure you know. He loves to talk a lot publicly, puffery wise, about his success and about Barstool's success. And I do think that'll be under the microscope a bit more now that there's no bigger public company backstopping those losses.
They are a content company, so the content that they put out, it could be called into question whether or not it's performative, but he does appear on edge. Despite his own personal gain, he's still got to worry about this company amassing all these losses and finding a sustainable business model when this wasn't necessarily forecasted. I want to switch gears briefly to the actual Penn and ESPN side of this. You mentioned the amount of money that they essentially swallowed on the Barstool deal. They just spent over $1.5 billion on this ESPN deal. In other acquisitions, we're getting pretty close, if not over their market cap of $3.5 billion. On the surface, it seems like a good deal for ESPN and Disney to say to their shareholders, we created some revenue out of nothing. We've been trying to get revenue out of nothing for several years, and no one's been dumb enough to take this deal, and we finally found a partner dumb enough. But over the long term, could this be a bad deal for both parties as ESPN now becomes the largest shareholder in Penn? And the gambling market isn't really going to care for the big letters in branding. It's difficult to get a foothold in this sector.
Could it be? I think absolutely. I think there's a very good chance that it ends up being that. There are so many companies, Fox, Maxim, The Score, Barstool. There are tons of media companies that thought it would be very easy to put their name on a sports book, suddenly divert all of their customers, or a large chunk of their customers who obviously like sports, who probably like gambling, convert them over to a sports book and have that be gravy for both the operator and for the media company. And largely in the US, all of those companies have really struggled to make that work. You can make the argument, I think, that ESPN is maybe a different animal. It's the biggest name in sports media, no question about that. But still, I think that's very difficult. And no one has been able to figure that out. And it remains to be seen if ESPN is going to be the outlier there, or if this is just another Fox bet, which again struggled mightily. And right around the same time that ESPN cut this deal, Fox Bet ceased operations.
Iger's comments haven't really pushed back on the notion that a lot of these recent moves, be it the layoffs, this new Penn Gaming deal, this seems like it's making the grounds fertile for an eventual either total separation as ESPN as a brand from Disney, or selling that off, not just maybe ESPN, but Disney as a whole. There's a whole lot of rumors about Tim Cook, and Bob Iger has kind of stoked the flames on that. In a couple of years' time, how is ESPN going to be owned and operated?
My guess, reading tea leaves, I think the preferred version there is partner with some of the sports leagues. ESPN pays so much money right now for rights to things like the NBA, like to NFL and Monday Night Football. If they can partner with some of those leagues, bring them in, maybe that lowers the acquisition cost for rights a little bit. It gives them a little bit more of a foothold in the industry. Something is going to have to change over there. Economically, the shift from the cable TV model, which was so good to ESPN, shifting to whatever the digital thing looks like, is going to have to make changes. The spin-off conversations, they've been rumored there at Disney for a very long time. My guess is, or my assumption is, that's not the preferred route right now. But you're right. This is ESPN's a company that is struggling right now to figure out what it looks like in 10 years, what it looks like in 20 years, and something needs to change. And whether that's bringing on money via a spinoff, or bringing off money via bringing in leagues, or a company like an Amazon or Verizon to take a chunk in and help ESPN on the digital technology side, something is going to need to change there. I don't think the sports betting thing is going to roll too deeply into some of that. It's a decent chunk of money, as you said. It's $1.5 billion in cash and another $500 million in stock. But the bigger problems for ESPN extend way beyond the sports betting. It really is in as consumers move from cable to digital, how ESPN continues to maintain its financial foothold in that industry.
Did I hear you correctly that you said that Penn valued Barstool at $50 million more than the New York Times paid for The Athletic?
That's right. Yeah. So Penn bought Barstool in two tranches. They bought 36% a couple of years ago for $163 million, and then bought the other 64% in February for $388 million. So 64% stake at $388 million. That's a $610 million valuation or so right there. So certainly more than what the New York Times paid for The Athletic. And we can get into that if you want. I think that also is a valuation that you can throw a lot of questions at in terms of whether that was appropriate value for what the New York Times got. But yes, the stark change from a $610 million valuation in February to a $1 valuation in August is one of the more shocking valuation changes that I have seen in sports media, or maybe media at large, certainly in the last few years.
But can Barstool ever be profitable, or how does Barstool arrive at profitable?
It's going to be a mix of things. It's going to be the cuts that seem to be happening right now. The New York Post reported they're cutting about 25% of their staff, so from 400 down to about 300. That's going to help, obviously, curb some of those losses. Again, it's $1 million a month, from what I understand, or from what Dave Portnoy has said, which is not nothing, but it's not insurmountable. And then I think you need to be a bit more judicious about what you're spending money on. I think it's an interesting move to try to broadcast college football games, but is that worth the money right now for Barstool? I don't know. We're going to see, but I think it is trying to get back to the roots of what Barstool was, which was lean and edgy, and trying not to become the huge $600 million valuated company that they were just a few months ago.
As a sports media reporter fascinated by all of this stuff, what are the elements of this story that people are overlooking, or things that you are finding interesting that others aren't talking about enough?
I'm fascinated by the sports betting side of it. As we just discussed, that there are so many companies that have dove into sports betting, put their name on sports books, that really thought that they were going to have some edge. And Fanatics, which is a company that I think is one of the most fascinating companies in our business right now, their sportsbook just recently launched. Michael Rubin is pushing that into they bought PointsBet's U.S. business. They're going to be in more than a dozen states by the start of NFL football season, from what I understand. Fanatics is another company that has a database of 900 million fans from buying T-shirts and buying jerseys and buying trading cards, that really thinks it has an advantage here. And the truth is, Dan, and you know this, that the sports betting industry is a low margin business, and it's really difficult to get consumers to stay loyal to a single brand. And it's really hard to do that without throwing unlimited money at them, and bonus bets and discounts and profit boosts and things like that. So
Thursday Thunders against the spreads.
Yeah, exactly.
Promo code Dan's.
Well,
So
we're betting on DraftKings. Please continue. We are betting on DraftKings, but there are only going to be a couple of winners here. There aren't going to be the number of winners that are competing for this right now.
And being a winner may look very different as a company than it does look right now, right? The amount of money that companies like DraftKings are spending, hundreds of millions of dollars a quarter to get market share. I think there's a very good argument that in 2 or 3 years, as this industry right sizes itself, a lot of that money shifts, or a lot of that money goes down, or they realize that we're not competing against 15 sports books or 25 sports books anymore. We're competing against 2 or 3, and we're happy with a 30% market share or whatever that looks like. So I think one of the interesting things here is the experiment with Barstool obviously failed. I think it failed in two parts. One, because Barstool should not be part of a publicly traded company and should not be part of a company in an industry as heavily regulated as sports betting. But two, I also think it failed because I think there is a misunderstanding out there from sports books and a lot of large media companies that if you put the media company's name on your sports book, suddenly you're going to have all of that media company's fans flocking and choosing to bet with that sports book because they love Barstool or they love Maxim or they love ESPN. And at least in the US, that thesis has not borne out yet. And if ESPN can't make it work, I think we put a nail in the coffin of that idea once and for all.
Last question. Portnoy sold his company for $500 million and bought it back for $1. Did he or did he not win?
If you ask him, he's going to tell you he won, Dan. I think it's going to take a little bit more time to know the answer to that question. I think it's hard to say that he won right now, but the truth is, if he can right this ship, he's a huge winner, right? He sold it for all that money, bought it back for nothing, and if he writes it back to a profitable or even break-even business, that's hundreds of millions of dollars in his pocket that he got and ended up in the exact same place that he was ownership-wise 5 or 6 years ago. So the cat, it remains to be seen the answer to that. I know what he would tell you. I know there are skeptics out there. I think we will have the answer to that question in about a year.
Chris Cody, you're with me on this. This guy's a real amateur.
It remains to be seen, Dano.
Is not how we do it in the tape
Time
business.
will tell, Dano.
Yeah, the wait and see stuff, that's no good.
Hang on. He used the word tranche.
Yeah.
That's a
That's a
problem.
point 4.
Yes, all right.
I got him
very
ahead
good.
on my scorecard.
Okay, very good. Eben, thank you for being on with us. We appreciate it, sir.
Thanks, guys. Appreciate it.
You want to stick around for Thursday Thunder?
Love you.
Yeah, I got a can't miss parlay that I'm willing to
Good. I need
lay
a
out
third
here.
leg. I mean, some would say I already have one. Hey, no.
Now, the Suey nominee for Best.
I was the first one to jump. Call me first matey. Twins call me daddy. Like Stugotz his babies. They demand the turkey and Dan's got the gravy. I've been on the craziest wave. If I'm on the stage, I think it's my minimum wage. This ain't.
I can't remember the Sueys having this kind of impact on a week. They have been great. All of them have been great. It's usually great, but this has been unusually strong this year. We've got limited fakes, which Chris Cody says is the Jessica and Chris Cody and just a couple of other people category. There aren't many people in this category. I have not heard it, but let's hear it together now.
And now the Suey nominees for Best Limited Fake. Chris Cody, Limited Fake Adam Schefter.
According to my sources, I'm the best.
I am. Take that one to the bank.
I wish Schefter had more Stephen A in him.
I love the floor with all your ashes.
Dan Le Batard, Limited Fake Jim Leland.
You could steal a base when I jump up and never come down.
Adnan Verk, Limited Fake John Skipper.
Charleston is fantastic. The people there are absolutely magnanimous, and I found the food to be spectacular.
Chris Cody, Limited Fake John Skipper.
We'll get 2 more seats right up here. Can I get, thank you. Can you bring those over here? Thank you. Put those right next to me. I do believe that you will be sitting right here.
Jessica Smetana, Limited Fake Churchill.
With the hot cha-cha.
Amin El Hassan, Limited Fake Terminator.
He's a cybernetic organism, living tissue over matter endoskeleton.
Joe Buck, Limited Fake Blippy.
So you're going to have Blippy on one of these.
Oh my God, that guy. I hate that guy.
Amin El Hassan, Limited Fake Person in Witness Protection.
Plenty of fish in the sea, Charlotte. Plenty of fish in the sea. But, no, the original deal was a lot better for, I think, the Celtics. Even though I still don't think Porzingis feels a need. I just think that, keeping Smart would have been a lot more advantageous than acquiring those 2 first-round picks.
Greg Cody, Limited Fake Mr. Ed.
There were some accusations there.
Billy Gill, Limited Fake John Mayer.
We get it, okay? Just play the guitar.
Chris Cody, Limited Fake Jennifer Coolidge.
Very disappointed by the second season of White Lotus. I don't find these characters very interesting.
What?
I liked season 1.
Don't say that.
I like it.
I like it.
It's a good show.
Hell, he's really
That's
good
not
at
a
it.
bad Jennifer Coolidge.
He's really damn
That's not a bad Jennifer Coolidge at all.
Tag 2023 Suey's. That one's on there. That one's.
What are you guys talking about?
Oh, that was actually pretty good.
I'm telling you.
Chris Cody, limited fake Alex Jones.
You know how bad it's got to be for Alex Jones to be the one trying to walk you back?
reason?
Oh, man. It's at some point.
Looking out for you here.
At some point, I know.
Oh, wow.
Please don't make it anymore. Everything is limited. Just let it live like it was, Dan. That was it. It was fun. That's it.
Please, just all I'm saying
It's all I got, man.
Please cultivate Alex Jones. When you've arrived at the pop culture.
Are you sure that plane hit the Pentagon, man? Come on.
Ground zero.
That's good, man.
Ground zero of Kanye in a gimp outfit on Alex Jones's show. Alex Jones trying to say it's unfair to you. It's unfair to you that people associate. Man, be careful.
Did you just do a word combo as Alex Jones?
He did.
Did you call a gimp outfit a goutfit in your Alex Jones voice?
I did.
Greg Cody, limited fake Chris Berman.
Are you reporting it?
I heard.
Well said.
Jeff Passan, limited fake Elmo.
Show how Tony is better than Babe Ruth.
Jessica Smetana, limited fake Australian accent.
Put on your sunnies, mates. We're down under for the Australian Grand Prix. It's lights out and away we go. Will this be the race where Charles Leclerc mounts his comeback? Oh, wait. No! On lap 8, Alex Albon spins off the track. It's a safety car and a red flag. Where? George Russell pits, but no! It's a red flag. Crikey! No!
Amin El Hassan, limited fake Doc Rivers.
Let's play the Doc Rivers sound celebrating Joel Embiid last night.
There were so many things that we did wrong, but what we did right was Joel Embiid. The MVP race is over. Tonight, we couldn't make shots. The man just scored half our points in an NBA game. And I'm biased, but the MVP race is over. Also, this is not Blake's fault. It's not.
Dominique Foxworth, limited fake Greg Cody.
Who needs me?
Well said. Who needs me?
Let me try again. Who needs me?
Okay.
He's trying to set you up.
Pretty good. Jimmy Johnson, limited fake Ed Orgeron.
I saw Ed when I spoke at the University of Miami clinic, and I just say, Ed, are you doing okay?
That's a great fake Ed.
That's a good fake Ed. An excellent fake Ed.
Mike Ryan, limited fake Tom Brokaw drying his balls.
Hey,
I want
Mike Schur just walked in.
You just that's not a good Brokaw. It's not a good Brokaw.
Breaking news, I'm blow drying my balls.
It's terrible.
It's a terrible Brokaw.
It's just a news guy.
That's a good Brokaw. I am blow drying my balls. These balls are the greatest generation.
Florida Panthers broadcaster Randy Moeller, limited fake Oprah Winfrey.
If there's any of that stuff going on, we're going to hand out 10-minute misconducts, and we're going to put an end to it. So it was almost like the Oprah Winfrey show where you get 10 minutes of misconduct, you get 10-minute misconduct, you get 10-minute misconduct.
Mike Ryan, limited fake Pablo Torre.
So there was this kid named Forrest. He had braces on his legs. His mom got him in school by being a whore.
Jessica Smetana, limited fake Pablo Torre and Elizabeth Holmes.
Carl Anthony Towns had a
You cannot.
really
How can-
depressing childhood.
How is Jess somehow also limited fake Elizabeth Holmes and worse limited fake me?
I had a really traumatic childhood too. My dad was fired by Enron.
Jessica Smetana, limited fake Jim Morrison.
The mojo rising.
Are you a Doors fan?
Yeah.
What's your favorite Doors song?
Greg Cody, limited fake Jonathan Zaslow. God, the Heat were your boys last night. That's my limited fake Zaslow. I'm a 3-time Heat championship broadcaster. Awesome. Bad news for the Warriors. Chris Cody, limited fake Orca.
It's the same thing.
Have you seen a sperm whale?
That was a really good impression.
And it was like, here it comes. There's the water.
I haven't seen a sperm whale. I've seen a fully breaching humpback whale. Orcas should not be there.
Are they hunting great white sharks?
Yes.
Yes.
If the water is getting warmer and the waters are warmer around Florida, why are great white sharks coming to Florida And why are orca also coming to hunt down in Florida?
So there are two reasons.
Wait, is the plural of orca orca?
There's a movie called Orca, which was Jaws, but with an orca.
Did you
That's
see the preview for
terrifying.
the Meg 2?
I did
Let's
see
not conflate the glory of the whale.
Keep your eye on the ball here. Why are there orcas in Key
There
Largo?
are two possible reasons, okay? One of them explains why I've been seeing humpback whales in New York Harbor, which did not happen. That reason is
I thought that was COVID.
environmental cleanliness. The waters are better now. The second reason. It's the closest thing to Jurassic Park in real life. Come on.
Mike Ryan limited fake Scarface.
Frank, I give you a beer.
Chris Cody limited fake Stanley Cup trophy.
It's been a while though.
Yeah, it has.
How are you? How are you doing? No, I'm good. I'm
all right. You know, just being a cup.
That's good to hear. It's great to see you again.
You're with this show, huh?
Yeah, I know. A big career move for me. I mean, I guess you've just been kind of doing the same old thing, right?
Yeah, just slubbing around with Mike.
I mean, that sounds cool. Like, are you?
Mike's number 2 on my list. Phil's number 1.
Oh, well, do you want to work with Phil more? I mean, I could try to put in a good word.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, I'm sorry to hear that. Are you looking
Well,
for
it's
a new?
awkward because Mike's right here.
Oh, okay.
Roy Bellamy limited fake Mel Allen.
How about that?
Chris Cody and Amin Al Hassan limited fake Jennifer Coolidge, Alex Jones, and Stephen A. Smith.
I need a conversation between Jennifer Coolidge and
Alex Jones.
They got
There you
hit,
go.
I'm
they,
here.
they got hooked up on a blind date.
Yeah.
Oh, is it Stifler's mom? Hell yeah, man.
And you're
And Jennifer Coolidge is walking in late.
I'm so tired of that character. It's not all I am.
No, but come on. Everyone knows you for it. Great.
Hello, my name is Steven. I'll be your server tonight. Can I start you off with some appetizers or perhaps some lovely beverages?
I'd like an apple martini.
And for the gentleman?
I'd like a Bloody Mary.
You mean to tell me you're going to drink a Bloody Mary at 7 p.m.? That's disgusting. It's despicable. I can't believe that you would go out on a date with this lovely woman and drinking that.
You will be able to vote on social media. I don't know if we're going to do better on any of the Sueys than Chris Cody making an assortment of blowhole sounds and ending what was a terrible impersonation by just shouting as the orca the word breach. I am promising the audience that Jessica and Lucy are going to dominate this college football season. You're going to get some analysis here in a segment from them that will show you that as college football ramps up here, that they know more than anyone around here about college football, even though Mike Ryan would have his objections. Mike Ryan, though, has a tension that is growing increasingly uncomfortable with Jessica. You may have heard it or seen it a couple of segments ago where Mike Ryan is making some sort of third leg joke and then wants to pound fists with Jessica, and she doesn't want any part of that.
Kiss me, sister.
No.
It's tough. He is also the only ally in the office right now in terms of calling people out for leaving the toilet seat up. So really mixed feelings.
I'm going to make a sign. I will not have this.
I don't be here enough to be on either side. Just want to say this to the crowd. I don't even use that damn bathroom, so look at me, Louis, whatever the case is right now.
No one was accusing you, but you seem incredibly
You seem
guilty.
very guilty. And you know what I did my last trip to the bathroom? I cleaned a little pee-pee off of a close. Thank you for closing the seat lid, I guess. But I cleaned up your pee-pee.
This place has me scared. I now, after I pee, the seat goes down. I wipe around the seat. I get I am scared now. I'm doing way more than I've ever done in
That's
terms of.
nice of you.
You
That
should
is
see
what
my
you
bathroom
should do
and
in a
nothing
shared
like this
bathroom.
happens at
Seat
home.
down, pee-pee cleaned up. It's not that hard to ask.
You guys
we need better toilet
You
paper, by
guys
the way.
love talking about bathroom stuff, and as a group, we are disgusting, and it's as if we're working with Wolverines.
I love women.
No one has
Just
been taught anything. Yes.
On the record, I love women.
That toilet paper's like
women.
That toilet paper's like sandpaper, by the way.
Yes.
Real ones get that reference.
I mean, go sit
You can't
outside.
use that for number
just
2.
Go outside.
You can't use
Go
that.
sit in the penalty box.
I got a number 2 bathroom. That bathroom's just for pee-pee, not poo-poo.
You're doing your own show. I mean, you consistently lately have been doing your own show that is different from the show that we're doing.
I just came in from doing my own show.
Yeah.
Go sit outside.
Go back out to doing
Thank
that
you.
one.
And
I'll take my glass of water and go.
Okay, you could just do that without
Okay.
announcing it. I was getting to the point that Jessica and Mike Ryan seem to be at odds with what the name of the segment that Lucy and Jessica are going to start doing in regards to college football. What are some of the suggested names that you're rejecting, Jessica? What are you laughing at?
Are you trying to frame me some way? Because I'll I just went on the record. I love women. This whole concept of Lucy and Jess talking college sports was my idea. I brought them into this company. I am a huge ally. And now that they're aboard, I'd like to, game the algorithm a bit.
By doing what?
By naming it Foot Girls.
Absolutely not. Trash. My bad. I love you, Michael.
For free?
Foot Girls. It's like football, but they're girls talking.
There is something to it. Like, if we did put our feet on the table, we probably would get more views.
You would instantly become the next Call Me Daddy.
But it's a terrible idea, Mike. We're not going with that one.
Okay.
And almost as bad as that was ChatGPT, which spit out 25 names for a college football show hosted by 2 women in their 20s and gave such gems as End Zone Divas, Kickoff Queens, Pigskin Princesses, and Gridiron Gals. Thanks, ChatGPT.
But that's better than what
Hold
Mike's.
Hold on. Gridiron Gals, let's just put that in the maybe column.
Hike
right?
her up.
What Mike is doing, though, is cheating.
Formation Femme.
He's recommending things that are simply going to draw pervs, like the name of the show, College Girls.
Yeah, College Girls, I think, makes plenty of sense because they're girls and they're talking college. So College Girls as a show. What is wrong with that?
Goddess bless football. Boom, you're welcome.
Yeah, but no one's searching that. No one, you got it. It's a great name. It's witty. But how do we grow? College Girls. That's how we grow.
You're doing an SEO thing here.
What?
Next, you're going to be like, substitute teacher orders pizza, girls.
No, that's not what I'm doing. How about this? Girl on girl action.
I don't like what you're putting down.
Lucy and Jessica
Don't make a
are
joke.
traveling
I really wanted to.
all over the world in order to bring you college football coverage. Jessica just went international, not just national. And Lucy is headed out to Orlando. She's already in Orlando, right? She's going to be doing the FSU-LSU game?
Yeah, I don't know how many in our fan base we're familiar. Lucy is fantastic at these things, and I hope I'm not hyping it up too much, but she is as good as anyone as I've seen on the man on the street at a sporting event thing, and I'm glad to have that under our umbrella.
She's too good to be hosting a show called Scrimmage Sisters.
Let's throw it out to the audience and see, would you be willing to take under advisement the prize that someone can get, not just naming the show if the audience names it correctly.
How about tutties?
But also getting some sort of prize from Meadowlark Media in exchange for partaking in this game. Would you be willing to entertain a listener naming because we're going to be doing the segment all year, correct? We're going to be sending people into the college football weekend with this as our signature vehicle.
Well, exactly. And maybe Juju Gotti will send you a Lucy Maine, Iowa shirt if you...
Lucci.
Sorry, Lucci.
Lucci Maine, that's a white woman.
I mean, her name's Lucy. So I was
Yeah. That's a good excuse.
Lucci, and you're Italian. You should know this.
Welcome back, Amin.
File.
Let's go ahead and have a hashtag for that, please, where people can name the show, because I'd like to see if the audience...
Terrified.
Yeah, Queen of the Mountain right now. We used to say King of the Mountain, but no, not this show. Queen of the Mountain right now is Tutties.
That's not what we're doing. Tutties does not work.
Come on. Say it real fast. You get it?
I mean, if you open this up to the audience, you're going to have something like 2 girls, 1 helmet or something.
Oh, Roy. My man, Roy.
Way to go with the maybe.
Hold on.
Strong maybe.
Oh, no. Now, do you guys see what just happened there?
See what you're giving off, Roy.
He cleverly disguised
Don't give it away. I mean, God damn it.
Cleverly disguised. That was cleverly disguised. There was no clever disguise.
We're great on the curve around
It's a jab at the audience.
And you're saying their coverage is a helmet full of. That's what.
What?
I didn't say that.
You know, that is what you're
You
saying.
don't kink shame around here.
Spoiler alert.
Especially when we're trying to totally manipulate an algorithm to grow.
Exactly.
I'm totally shaming that kink.
College
That one?
girls. College girls.
You get it? They're girls that talk college. And oftentimes people search college girls on the internet, I am told.
I mean, you have been.
Just for my personal records, any of you a stepmother? Just so I can just build a bio.
I mean, you have been following closely Hard Knocks. The Jets are entering a really funny and wonderful season of expectations with the best quarterback they've ever had, who is immediately deciding to talk as soon as he joins the Jets about, psychedelics. I love psychedelics. I want to talk on behalf of psychedelics. A lot of people don't understand what ayahuasca is because he is in search of some sort of spiritual ego-breaking enlightenment when he pursues ayahuasca. But there's a lot of stuff that he's doing that's eccentric, and I've not watched any of Hard Knocks.
Really?
I haven't watched. I'm going to. I'll watch it all at once, but I have not watched any of it yet. So your thoughts are what so far? The Jets did not want to do this, and now they've ratcheted up the expectations. I don't think that matters much. You play in New York. You're a football team. You're going to have plenty of expectations. Your thoughts are what on what you've seen so far?
We talked about it a little bit last week overall that it's been a fun season, but we're robbed of the whole storyline of a guy who's trying to make the team. Stuff they did a little bit with the rookie Jordan Cap, but just too little, too late for my liking in terms of what a regular Hard Knock season is like. But from this week's episode, there were two incidents that I loved. One was in game, one was out of the game. The out of the game one was a conversation between Zach Wilson and Aaron Rodgers about headphones. Because people have been making fun of Aaron Rodgers for wearing wired Apple earbuds, and he said, "Yeah, but I'm preserving my brain from all the whatever rays." And I won't lie, I laughed, and then I was like, "Wait, is he serious, or is he's messing with us?"
He's
right?
dead serious, and I think that he's going to have his offensive coordinator, like the play call, in via hardwire. He's just going to have a quarter-inch adapter plugged into his
all the way down
into his
out
belt.
the field. But then the other thing was in game. So Randall Cobb had an illegal blindside block, and they come back to the huddle, and Aaron Rodgers says, "Jesus Christ, man, it's not 2014 anymore." And he said, "I blacked out. I'm sorry." So you just wasted your entire training camp check right there for this illegal block that he's going to be fined for.
It pissed off the Giants.
It pissed off the Giants. So here's the funny thing. They cut to the next offensive play, and the D lineman for the Giants, is it Ward? I want to say is his name, comes up and kind of hits Rodgers with a late hit. And Rodgers says, stop doing that bullshit or whatever. And the guy's yelling at him. And so Rodgers just says, "I don't even know who you are." And the guy's retort was, "I don't know who you are either," which is just
it's not a great comeback.
Oh, man.
That was lame of Aaron Rodgers, though. You don't gotta know who I am for me to slap you upside your head, boy.
But that's what he should have said back. I don't care. You don't have to know who I am.
Give a damn who you is. I'm on the NFL roster, sir, and I feed my entire family. That's who the hell I am, boy.
Juju, I wish he had said that. Instead, he said, "I don't know who you are either." I'm like, come on, man. You got to do better than that, man.
So the impromptu ad-lib work of the defensive lineman named Ward was insufficient to you. There's no one on the field for the Giants that can, or many people ever, who are going to have the resume to be able to come back over the top on Aaron Rodgers on that one.
Well, Eli Manning, if you want to say ever. Let's not say ever. Ever is a long time. Jihad Ward is his name, by the way. Jihad Ward. And he said he was upset. By the way, he spoke to the media about it later. He said about that whole incident, "See, the thing is, they're going to entertain.
They're going to show his part. HBO, whatever stuff is going on, Hard Knocks, they're going to show his part. They weren't even in the whole scenario of what really went down. They're just going to show his side of the story. It's all about Aaron Rodgers at the end of the day. They sign him. It is what it is. They're going to show his part and make me look like a sucker, but I ain't going for that.
Coming up next, X's and Hoes.